Well, welcome around the Workstand. It's that time again to talk about data and results. Ryan, how are you?
I'm great, man. It's good to see you. Yeah, the summer's winding
Yeah.
down a little bit, which is always a tough time for me because I love the summer, hate the winter, but cooler temperatures, cooler mornings, I sure love it. So, how are you?
Yeah, I was thinking that as I put the short sleeve shirt on, there won't be many more of these where it won't be cool out.
Yeah,
It won't be
yeah,
warm out, that is.
yeah, yeah. But no, yeah, life is good. Riding my bike a little bit, working on the Jeep a bit, um, gearing up for our big company summit or retreat here in a couple of weeks.
Looking
Pretty much the whole
looking
company is
forward
going to
to
be
it.
there. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, it'll just be great to have so many people in one spot. We've done like department summits, but this is the whole
Hmm.
company. The first time we've, done this, I think during my tenure, like even when we were a hybrid business where we had a physical office and remote, I don't think we got everybody together. Probably during your time, you've done the whole company, haven't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Historically, we've done that, and we get large chunks of the company together. But
Yeah.
it's a big ask to get everybody at one spot. But it makes a difference. It gets us in a room where we can face to face talk about the things, the challenges, and the wins. And I'm looking forward to it. And of course, it's easy for me because you all are coming here. So
Yeah, right around the corner. We built it around you. I mean, that was the cornerstone. We were putting together the project requirements.
I
Top of the
appreciate that.
list. Top of the list. Yeah.
How
What?
can this be easy for Mark? I'm
Uh-huh.
sure that was the topic of conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So much of our business planning is how do we accommodate for you? Yeah.
Okay, well, enough nonsense. Let's talk about actual results and data and metrics and such that can be proven and aren't about me.
Yeah. So we just we got the August data in from Workstand. So we measure the 1,300 merchants using our platform. It's everything from kind of single location, small markets, up to 20 locations, major markets. And so it ends up giving us a pretty good look at the overall industry, how our platform's doing. And I was very pleased that, online in August was great. It was another month of double digit growth, which I think has been, five out of the 8 months so far have been double digit or have been in the positive territory, with the majority of those double digit, which is great. And so dollar volume is really good. But year like this, you got to look at the different pieces, and the real standout for August was order volume. And so that's just, obviously the number of sales that close online. From a year over year growth standpoint, it was the best of the year. And from a total order volume, it was the highest month of the year. So, I think just really signals that consumers are out there buying and shopping, and increasingly online, which is, we saw that from comparing I think last month we talked about some of the people for bikes data. I think probably July or June. I think June is what we talked about last. And online is outperforming in store. But consumers are shopping online. The couple of different kind of windows into performance are, site traffic. And I think that was down 11% over last year in August, even though sales volume was up. That's the trend that we've been seeing all year, which doesn't mean. So when we were talking a year ago, session traffic was a good indicator of in-store foot traffic. And so, if session traffic goes down 11, you would think that store traffic goes down 11. That's not true anymore because the consumer has so rapidly shifted towards zero-click search and AI. There's now a disconnect between online traffic and interest. So traffic was down, but revenue per session was up 24% year over year. So what it means is the consumers who are clicking through to the site, they have just a very high intent to buy, and so they're converting more online. So it's kind of a mixed bag there in terms of how you want to look at it. Now, also on the mixed bag front, this was the first month since February where the typical dealer did not show positive year-over-year growth. So the typical dealer, we try to isolate some of the high volume sellers and just look at kind of your kind of middle market bike shop. And all year they've been tracking incredibly well, but there was a drop off last month. And so really what we're seeing is that the dealers who are staying on the gas with Google advertising, letting their advertising hit the entire country so that they can capitalize on demand wherever it is, they're prolonging the season. They're seeing longer results, whereas the dealers who maybe have a more contracted market, are experiencing more of a decline. Still
So
solid
when you're,
results, but go ahead.
but when those stores that are just kind of letting the market come to them, when that site traffic metric starts to drop for whatever reason, be it the zero-click searches or the AI intervention in search, they're going to suffer more than those that are actively driving product searches to their websites.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I think that is exactly it. But also going into markets where people are buying. And so I think, you've worked with, I think, notably a merchant in Colorado who, he was really suffering, impacts of seasonality. And when he started advertising nationally on Google, he was all of a sudden able to, in the middle of the winter, capitalize on sales in San Diego and Florida. And so you're able to diversify your market a bit and not be as prone to that, kind of waning down of the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, see, there's seasonality. There's also geographic seasonality, and you can reach out into markets that just naturally, because of their weather, have different seasons, or just have different demand patterns for events that are in the area or whatever. That's a form of diversification that's accessible to anybody that's willing to invest a reasonable amount of money in it.
Yep. Yeah, but those numbers, like you said, they're just numbers don't lie, But the impact that Google Shopping has on this, I mean, this is the reason why, we're seeing such an uptick in the number of our clients that are paying us for Google advertising now. This is the reason that David Martinez, who's our key accounts advisor, the person who's going to coach e-commerce growth for merchants, he's got a multi-month backlog of our clients who want to start that consultation process, sort of build the growth plans. So I'm really glad to see that. I want everyone on our platform to be successful to whatever extent is right for their business. I don't want to take anybody for granted. So, we're going to initiate as many conversations as we can. I know you make a lot of those phone calls.
Yeah. And David and I, we've got another podcast episode coming with him. The first one where we gave the general overview of the digital advisor services and the work he's doing as our key accounts advisor was very well received. So we're starting to break down more specifics as to how he's coaching stores for things like in-store inventory buying for e-commerce, how to look at shipping as an investment rather than a cost. So a lot of that stuff that's really resonating and helping stores, we're going to break that down so that if you're interested in that, it'll be an easy way on your own time to go, how's that work and what am I getting myself into? Yes, that's something I want to do. And then, of course, reach out to David and we'll do more with it. The other thing that I've seen, and maybe this is related to the zero-click searches, is we want people to focus on investments in marketing that we know return value and return it in a reasonable time. But part of that AI search piece is that you need to think a little bit differently about non-catalog content. And interestingly, think about it the way we've been trying to tell people to think about it for a long time, which is, modern SEO starts to come down to, it's a little easier in some respects. Do you have anything interesting on your website that people are searching for and they care about? And are you actively maintaining that? And I think that still matters. So think about that as we see site traffic dropping. When you do get traffic, how are you engaging that traffic? How are you getting them to the thing they care about if they didn't get directly to it from the specific search they did? That stuff still matters. So I don't want people to give up when they hear that site traffic's down. There's still a reason to be doing a good job on your website, because when people do get there, you want them to find something valuable, and that AI search has to learn from somewhere. And we want our sites or local bike shop sites to be a primary source where they learn about the answers for bicycle related searches.
Yeah. And zero click search has been, that's been growing in the last
thing for a long
decade.
time.
Yeah. I think you started to see as Google Shopping grew in prevalence, as Google's business accounts, for small businesses grew in prevalence. Google is just pulling as much business information and product availability and pricing information into the search results. And so that's been a multi-year trend. It's just accelerating as the AI agents are starting to like answer more questions directly. And so you're exactly right. And I don't want people to lose sight of the fact that just because they're not clicking through to the site doesn't mean that they're not getting the information from the site. They're just able to achieve it without having to click through. And so that kind of ties into the next piece we were going to talk about, which is the Google search data. So we monitor that Google Trends dashboard about what is the search volume happening for different keywords online, and we're seeing just continued trends in that space that reinforce the need. I mean, I don't even want to call it. It's not even discretionary for a growth-oriented shop to not have an e-commerce website now. Looking at just those two key metrics that we look at, searches for best bike and searches for bike shop, indicating is the consumer shopping for a product or are they shopping, for the destination they're going to buy? Product searches have recovered to 2022 levels. And so by that metric, the market is stabilizing. And that is very promising because that's what everybody, suppliers, retailers, everybody's looking for. When have we found the bottom? When is the market stabilizing? I kind of throw out the like return to normal phrase. Like that doesn't really apply anymore. But overall consumer demand, as seen in the search numbers, has recovered. It doesn't match up well with the transaction data that People for Bikes publishes, monthly. So what's that disconnect? The interest there to shop doesn't always mean somebody's ready to buy. And so that's just the nature of shopping. Some of that purchasing is going to other places like direct consumer business that doesn't showing up at shops. But the demand is there. But then you compare that to bike shop searches, and we're at 2005 levels for consumers that are searching for bike shop. I mean, so it basically, yeah. And so it's been a steady decline over 20 years. And that doesn't mean that bike shops can't still grow and thrive. But what it means is you have to find customers in a different way. I mean, in 2005, consumers were just getting used to the internet. They're transitioning away from they found the local bike shop by the yellow pages or driving by and seeing the sign. And as the internet has grown in prevalence, bike shops have really done well by making sure that they show up in searches for bike repair me and near me and that sort of thing. But fundamentally, the consumers change. Like they're shopping for the product first and then the destination next. I'm shopping for what's the best gravel bike for me. I'm shopping for a brand paired with gravel bike. And then once I see something I want, then it's how do I get it? Do I want to buy it from the manufacturer? Do I want to go to the bike shop? That's when that secondary search might come in. But when the retailer has their products on Google because they have an e-commerce website, the consumer's encountering that local option right away, and they're more likely to still maintain traffic levels and purchase volume. And so, I mean, I'm really back to this is a alarm bells going off issue for bike shops. You're looking to end the season strong, but more than anything, you just need 2026 to be a strong year. You got a ton of headwinds. You just can't sit on your hands anymore and not have an e-commerce website. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to experience that market decline because you're not doing anything to capture the changing consumer. And so I just certainly hope our phone is ringing and shops are looking at their options for how to be more competitive.
Yeah. I mean, you state it well, but the order of operations has changed in a shopping process. And so front and center, because there's so many other places, so many other sources that a consumer can get information about. I want to do this thing. How do people do this thing? What do you need to do this thing? And that leads them to the things, and they search for the things at that point. So we as bike shops aren't the place that explain all that to them often in the beginning. But we are the place that when they pick that product and start searching it, we've got to show up for that. So number one is the order of operations has changed. Has your approach to presenting yourself to the market changed? If it hasn't, you're off the back and you need to get on it. The other part is it's kind of a funny thing that we don't think about e-commerce. We keep using that word, but that word has changed. Its meaning has changed, or its need has changed. You are, as a business, a retail business, involved in e-commerce, whether you think you are or not, because that's how people are shopping. So we even said it a couple of years ago when we evolved our name to Workstand. It's no longer just e-commerce; it's commerce. People are just shopping. We said it for years, and so you may think I don't want to be a part of e-commerce. You are, in that your market is. And so you've really got to participate, even if you don't plan to grow online sales per se as a huge part of your business. You kind of have to offer that because that's the pathway, that's the door. Your door's not open if you don't have that. And yeah, it's our business, and yeah, we're going to say that, but this is the data. This is why you and I get together every month and talk about this, because you can't deny what's going on in the data.
And it's not just us. I mean, read the quarterly reports. Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Dick's. They're shifting investment towards their online infrastructure. They're showing the faster growth rates online. And you're exactly right. I mean, kind of seeing this through line. We started talking about search. That's how you acquire the customer. And then to your point about e-commerce, yes, the digital space plays a role in your ability to attract, convert sales. So then once you have the customer on your site, where do they close the sale? Do they close the sale online, or do they come in store? How do they get the product? Is it a click and collect order? Do they want it shipped to their home? As a retailer, you don't care. All you need to know is you just need the customer to find you and take their money, and then make it really easy for them. And back to, yes, and we're here to help. And you mentioned some of the things that David Martinez talks about. Like, historically, we've been very good at that customer acquisition part and the conversion part. But shop owners have a lot of questions about, how do I run a business that has a strong digital component? That's what David does. And we've wanted to step in to offer more of that operational coaching, because I think sometimes a bike shop who's new to this space blows it out of proportion and says, this isn't my business, there's too much to learn. That is not true. But at the same time, we can make it easier. We can demystify it. We can give you a head start. You can have somebody you can trust. And that's something unique that we offer that others don't. I mean, we are where bike shops turn for answers about how do they diversify their business.
Yeah. And I think, something we always hear is margin. Well, the more I work with David, the more I understand that a lot of what he's looking at is, where is the margin? And sometimes that margin is sitting on your shelf somewhere, deteriorating every day. So don't think this is purely, I don't want to be a pure online player. I don't want to talk to David. No, you need to talk to David, because we're talking about the stuff that's sitting on your shelf that's killing you. That could be you could pay for a whole person with some of these stores' aged inventory. It's how to buy for e-com. I mean, he said something on the episode we've got coming. I'll give you a sneak preview. And one of the things they used to look at in his store when he was learning all those things is, when he's buying, if he can't sell something at half off and feel good about it, he's just not buying it. So don't think this is all going to be trying to change your outlook and make you the next REI online. This is really about looking at your business as a whole, and where is all that margin hiding? Because, it is thin. So where do we find that and get that out of there and get you into this age where you can attract customers in the way that they're looking for products?
I'm so glad you pointed that out, because I think, historically we've put a lot of focus on, moving the inventory you own, making it discoverable, but leveraging supplier sync so that you can grow revenue without without having to make the inventory investment. But boy, David is so laser focused on, let's convert your inventory to money. And whether that's what you already own, or how do we make smart buying decisions that's going to give you high turns and high margin. So I'm just really glad that we're into that space. And we can fit into a business, in whatever way works. But I just, I just really want to encourage bike shops to, going into this winter, you got to look at where's your growth going to come from next year. We'll help you get more eyeballs on your business. We'll get you more foot traffic. We'll help you close sales online in a new way. We will be a part of a growth plan.
That sounds exciting. I'm excited now.
Same.
I was excited before.
Yeah.
But.
I tell you what, I think there's a healthy amount. There's plenty of things to worry about in this bike market, but I'm not. I'm excited for the potential for bike shops. I think that they've got a bright future, and I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's always been an advantage to be a local store. And I know as e-commerce evolved, it often didn't feel that way. But every time we think we've taken this step where, online's going to kill local, it just never does, because consumers they just don't want that. They want it in some areas of their life, and they want it for some purchases, but it remains a huge advantage to be a local bike shop. And that's what we've just evolved to be really good at, is how do we leverage that in an age where there are other options for things? And it's just there, and we can help. So please let us know. We want to help. What's next?
I don't know. Let's just wrap it up there. You and I both have busy days. We're kind of coming off a high of talking about, growth for bike shops. We'll kind of see what we have to talk about again next month.
And until then, we will see everybody around the Workstand.
Hey, thanks, Mark.